Yes.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Please, if everybody can hear me clearly and properly, just help me confirm in the chat box that you can hear me audibly. I want to be sure that, I'm clear. Okay, thank you, Kennedy. Thank you. Thank you. So again, my name is Valerie Ojina Adesonya. And like Oluwasegun did mention, so this LinkedIn optimization section is actually part of the cloud computing bootcamp, but we thought why not make it open to other people who would be interested, because LinkedIn optimization is beneficial to everyone who is a professional. Even that's another thing. People think LinkedIn is just for professionals, like you have a 9 to 5, but even if you're self-employed, LinkedIn is beneficial to you as well, could be beneficial to you as well. So for this evening, I'll be making certain references directly to those who were part of the boot camp so that they can see how, the next steps they should take in optimizing their LinkedIn page and putting out there the things they've learned in the last 2.5 months out there for people to know that they are ready to get into the field of cloud computing. So first, I want to say good evening to everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking out your time. This is going to be, we're working strictly with an hour. So how we're going to manage this is I'm going to make the presentation, talk about all we need to know within 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and then we have the next 10 minutes for people to ask questions, right? As brief as it can be. And we'll have our contact details open, and you have the time to ask questions, more questions as after the section. So first, I want to explain what is LinkedIn optimization for everyone who is interested. So like I said, it's not just for professionals only. As long as a self-employed person, LinkedIn is also important to you and can be beneficial. So LinkedIn optimization means that how are you able, what are the things you're able to do to increase your visibility on LinkedIn as the professional or for whatever role you want people to see you as. So for instance, if you are a cloud DevOps person, right? As a cloud DevOps professional on LinkedIn, do people perceive your profile? Do people perceive you as a cloud DevOps professional, or do they perceive you as a day-to-day motivational speaker, right? Some people, when you look at their profile and look at the content of their profile, you can't really say who they are, or you would misinterpret what their professional life entails. First, LinkedIn is not your regular social media. It's not Twitter. It's not Instagram. It is your professional digital CV. So it has to speak more to your professional life. I see people now trying to say, oh, LinkedIn has to be flexible, has to do work-life balance and things like that. LinkedIn does provide that for you, but it is primarily for professional networking, exposure, and visibility. Now, how are you going to optimize your LinkedIn? When people want to optimize their LinkedIn, one, it is first for most people primarily to increase their job prospects. Like I said, this is part of a boot camp, so I'm going to be focusing on the part of how do you optimize LinkedIn in order to get yourself visible for a job, because you just completed a boot camp. You want people to know what you have done. You want people to see that you're ready for them to give you opportunity to take up this role in cloud computing. So you have to let people see what you have done, how much you know, and you can't get into every room, right? Your LinkedIn profile is the first point of call, how people are going to have access to you. So without much ado, I like to have interactive sections. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. At some point, I'll be using my own profile as an example. And like I said, for the sake of this section, I saw a particular profile that I really liked, that kind of encapsulates what I would want those persons who just completed the boot camp, something I want them to mirror. So I would also share that profile as well. So just let me know when you can see my screen, please. I would be sharing it right about now. Please confirm to me when you can see my screen. Okay. All right, thank you very much. So here, this is my profile, right? Now, first things first, how are you able to optimize LinkedIn? To optimize your LinkedIn, first thing is you have to ensure you have a profile picture. Having a profile picture on your LinkedIn page doesn't mean that you're less of a professional, and not just any picture. You want to have a professional picture. Even if you're a techie, even as a techie, you don't have to wear suit and tie, but there is a professional picture, right? You can have a nice shirt and it's portrait. So you can choose to have a full body picture, but most times professional pictures, portrait pictures, that is from your head to your shoulder or maybe a little bit towards your abdomen is good. And it doesn't have to be anything funky like, oh, two fingers in the air or tongues out or, any of those funky social media stuff. Just a professional picture is perfect for your LinkedIn. And next thing you want to have is your headline. So this is what I refer to as your headline, right? So you can see here in the headline, once you look at my profile, right? Can you put in the chat box, what does it tell about? I've not told anybody what I do, right? Because I saved that because I want to know what perspective, like from my profile, what can you tell is my profession? So can someone just looking at my profile, the headline, can people just put in the chat box, what do you think is my profession, please? That's we can do that in like 30 seconds. So you can put it. I can see responses in the chat. I would like to see responses so I know that we're following. What do you think is my profession? Okay, somebody says consultant, somebody says human resource. All right. I'd like to have like these 5 responses. So someone say risk and compliance consultant. Okay. Another person. Let's see. Let's get some responses. Let's go. I'm waiting to see responses. Someone say HR. So I have 2 HR. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, the 5th one, the last, who's giving the last response? So let's see the last response. The 5th one. Okay. What do you think is my profession? One more response to go. So I can say, someone said quality control. Okay. So we have a tie between, someone said life coach. Okay. So we have human resource, I have risk and compliance consultants. So in on that note, if you say risk and compliance consultant, I want to tell you you are very correct. So I am a business risk management consultant, and that is my profession. I have over 5 years work experience in that field. I work across different industries, but in the last 5 years, I've had a more like close specialization within the financial services industry. However, I've had to work across other industries, IT, oil and gas, the likes. So now, for those of you who said HR, if we had more time, I would have said what's on my profile gave you the perspective of HR or quality control, right? So within that context, so you can see that looking at my profile, different people had different perspective of what my profession would be without even hearing me say, this is what I do, right? Now, that is what your LinkedIn profile does. And that is why it is good to have headline. So looking at just my name, headline, I'm sure the person who said risk and compliance consultant saw risk management, saw this, that, and say, okay, maybe that is what she does, right? So it is nice to have a headline. And your headline now, someone can say, what if I don't have a work experience, right? Your headline can be something you are projecting to be. So take, for instance, you're a fresh graduate out of school, or you just completed a cloud computing boot camp. You have not worked as a cloud computing developer or anything like that, right? So you can have your on your headline, cloud infrastructure developer enthusiast, right? Now, anybody that sees that knows in what line they should look at you, and in what way the things you're interested or what your streamlined profession is. So, and if you already have work experience, you want to take your core work. Some people have done so many things, but your LinkedIn profile can only at a time portray one key or one major aspect of your work specialty. So if you've done medicine, you've done bio. Some people are multitaskers, they are lawyers, they're medical doctors, they are this, they're that. It's nice. So on your LinkedIn profile, one LinkedIn profile for you, you have to choose what area you want to put out there, right? So that would be what to consist on your headline. So when I say headline, I'm referring to this part where this area where I have risk management, internal audit, internal control, compliance, corporate governance, consulting, investment, wealth management. This is your headline. Now I would click on this so that it's just my profile you're seeing clearly. On that thing you want to look at is having this cover picture, right? Having a cover picture is important. It is not entirely necessary, but it is important, and it has to be in line with your area of expertise as well. So if you're an IT person, you want to look at a cover picture that relates to something in line with what you've done. Like those are just in the cloud computing bootcamp. There are pictures on maybe network things or cloud something, AWS, Azure, things like that, right? So you want to look at cover pictures that portray what you represent, okay? And another thing is having your summary. You see this about section. A lot of people do not have an about section, or some people have, but they don't have anything there, or whatever they have there is really nothing to write home about, right? Now, this is my about section. If you read my about summary, it tells you what my entire professional history is all about in a single glance of roughly 3 paragraphs. This is shorter than my CV, but this encapsulates my entire CV, right? So it is important to have an about section. Now, someone can say, how am I going to even write this about section? I have 2 tips for you. How can you come up with a good about section? 1, you can go in your industry, search for someone who is in your industry, someone who has a robust profile in your industry. So you are a project manager, you are a developer. Look for a developer that has a robust profile that you're interested in and see what the about section is. I do not support copy and paste, verbatim, but you can mirror it and adapt it to your own reality. So if I say here, I have 5 years work experience, you don't have 5 years work experience, but a junior business risk management consultant can take my own about section and modify it to hit our own profile and say, instead of 5 years, he or she has 2 years. I've worked across different business industry. He probably has worked in only one, and he's going to put he's worked in this one. Maybe he's worked in only with banks, for instance. I've worked only with banks in Africa, but I'm open to exploring to European region, EMEA, he or she can do that, right? So you see that about section shows where you are in your career. And if you do not have so much to say about your career, it could be a means for you to project what you're looking out for, right? So that is all about the about section. Next thing you want to look at is your work experience, right? You want to ensure that your work experience is in chronological order. And I usually emphasize, it is important that you have relevant work experience, right? Relevant. So if as a cloud infrastructure developer, you have really not done anything in cloud infrastructure, however, you've done maybe things in web development or let me say data analytics, or you're working as a computer science teacher, you want to ensure that the work experience that you put there are things that is relevant to the career path you're trying to forge or the profile you're trying to forge on LinkedIn. Now, someone said, what if I don't have any experience? What do I do? Now, for most jobs, thank you for, I'll say it's a big thank you to platforms that like freelance platforms, right? So if you know most of these freelance platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, right? These platforms, you can go on these platforms and create a profile as a cloud infrastructure developer. And you come on your LinkedIn and put, cloud infrastructure developer, Upwork, put from this year to this year. You put the things, even if you have not gotten a job off those platforms, just put the skills you have, right? The skills you have, the things, can do this, can do that, right? So once you do that, you're building a profile, right? You're building a profile. And your experience has to be in chronological order. Like I said, relevant experience. You don't want to, so if you want to be a cloud infrastructure developer and then at some point you work as a cleaner or you work as a receptionist in a supermarket, those are not small jobs, right? We do not believe any job, anything your hands finds to do and you're doing it legally, it is honorable to all. However, for, like I said, because you're trying to project a single image on LinkedIn, right? You have to choose jobs, job experiences, educations that are relevant to that profile. It is important. So let it be in chronological order. The same thing with your education. You have a BSc, you have a master's, whatever you have, please update your education section on LinkedIn. And you go on to do relevant certifications, put them there and all the way, right? And another thing is skills. Some people don't see the need to highlight the skills they have. This is an important section on LinkedIn. So most times when recruiters, so for LinkedIn, you have different kinds of LinkedIn, right? So we have the recruiter LinkedIn. So what I have here is LinkedIn for personal use. There's LinkedIn for business use. There's LinkedIn for recruiters. There's LinkedIn for sales, business sales or business development persons, right? So LinkedIn for personal use, it means that you're a professional, you're open to hiring or being hired, right? So your skills are relevant. When recruiters are code searching for people, they use search words based on certain skills. So I am a business risk management consultant. I have experience in internal audits, risk management, compliance, corporate governance. Those are my skilled areas. So you can look at my skills and you can see that I put them there, right? So when somebody searches anyone who has a skills, let's say location, anyone in maybe Nigeria or Lagos, Nigeria with skills in internal audit, my profile will pop up, right? Because I have designed my profile to be visible. LinkedIn is a bunch of AI, written words, automated and all, right? So once they put the right search words, the right profiles come up, right? So you can see that there. So I have my skills. Also, if you have mentors or you have colleagues who are on LinkedIn, you can write them for recommendations, right? Because a prospective employer can go on your LinkedIn and see, okay, have you got any recommendation? What are people saying about you, especially your colleague, supervisors, and junior, depending on at what level you are in your career. Now, someone can say, now this is the reason why I say skills, right? Let me hide this. Excuse me, I'm trying to find how to hide this bar. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to move this here. All right. Now, another thing I want us to highlight is this. So the notification section. How do you know that your LinkedIn is somewhat optimized, right? How you know your LinkedIn is somewhat optimized is this. From time to time, every week, you should see how many times you appeared in a search, right? Now, I want to look at the last notification I got about how many times I appeared in a search. I'm trying to find it. I don't know if it's still there. Just give me a minute. So here, let me see my profile here. So typically beginning of the week, I usually get beginning end of the week, I guess how many times, look at it, my LinkedIn analytics, right? So it shows that my profile was viewed 95 times, right? And I make posts, so 105 post impressions, then 39 search appearances. This is usually on a weekly basis, right? So it means this week, and if I check people that viewed me, you will see some people could view you. That means they hide their visibility and things like that. Now you see LinkedIn says you are getting noticed, right? So it means what are kind of people that have searched from me? Engineers, founders, and at some point it shows you if the person is a recruiter. If the person has a recruiter profile, it shows you. So this is how people just, when you hear people say, oh, this recruiter DM'd me, this recruiter sent me a private message, it's because most times it's not based on reference. A recruiter will just put a search word within a certain location, your profile came up, they went to your LinkedIn, they looked at it, they liked what they saw, then they came to your private message to ask you, are you interested in this job offer? right? And one thing I want to encourage people to do is you have to put out content. Now, putting out content doesn't mean you have to sound like the smartest person walking the face of the earth. No, you don't have to. It could be just news. So you're a cloud infrastructure developer. Uh, Microsoft just released a new tool, or a new tool, or AWS does this something, or there's a new conference, or there's something. You can do researches from time to time and post something. I usually tell myself that I would try to make posts, right, on my LinkedIn at the minimum twice a month. I try to do it twice a month. And if it's such a busy month for me, I do once a month, right? Because you need people to see, you need to put yourself out there. You have to increase visibility. So the more you put content out there, now content relevant to your area of specialization, right? It is good to put random things sometimes, but not far random. Like for me, I'm a business risk management consultant. Sometimes I put posts on different areas of business risks. I could write about internal control today. I could write about internal audit, corporate governance. I could write about policies. That's because corporate governance is also part of my work package, and also my work experience and specialty, right? So I could write about all those things. So it doesn't mean you have to write about a particular, so you're doing cloud infrastructure, then everything you have to write about is cloud infrastructure. No, you're in field of information technology. There could be a new tool, there could be something new happening in your field. It's nice to put, short things out there. You're getting notes. And when you do that, if you have friends, oh, I made a post on LinkedIn. Can you like my post? Can you read it and give me feedback? Things like that. You're increasing visibility for you, right? Now, particularly to those who just completed the bootcamp, like I mentioned earlier, there is a profile that I saw and I said to myself, if everybody who did this bootcamp did this, it would be amazing. Now, my profile is very visible. So when I view somebody's profile, they know it is me. But if you want to view somebody's profile anonymously, you can view somebody's profile anonymously. So you're just here. Let me move this again. So you go to here where you have me, you have settings and privacy, right? So that's taking, so settings and privacy, you can see visibility. So visibility, profile viewing options, your name and headline, or once I click on it, it tells me, do I want someone to view as somebody, an auditor, or complete private mode. So if you want to view profile, you don't want a person to know who it is, you can use complete private mode. So somebody doesn't think, you're being you're stalking them or something like that, right? You could do that. But if it's someone that you're really interested in the sense that you're interested in their professional experience, you like their profile, it's okay to send a person a message like, I like your profile, hence why I'm, going through it, so you don't feel creeped out, things like that. Now, I'll go back to the profile that I said that I really liked. So let's go back to LinkedIn. Yes. Okay. This will take a while. Oh la la. It's coming up. So yes. So the name of the person is Himani Chao Huan. So I'm going to search here. So for those of us, does everybody know about Medium, like the blog page Medium? Please, if you know about it, just put it in the chat box. If you know about the blog page, Medium. Okay, yes, okay, that's great. So I'm looking for, I hope I still find that particular post she made. True. Oh my, him. Oh dear Lord. I hope I have the right person. No, this is corporate communications. Oh my, I've missed the person. Oh my. So there are a lot of, I missed the person. So one thing I liked about this profile, so this person this week completed a boot camp just like you completed, right? And what this person did was to make a LinkedIn post of every task that they did. And so what they did was they went, what she did, she went on Medium. So on Medium, every week, every task she completed every week, she wrote about it with screenshots and posted it on Medium. So this week, she learned about Kubernetes, how to prepare a container, how to use Circle CI, things like that. She wrote about it on Medium, right? And included screenshots of the things, steps of the things she did, and all. Then at the end of her bootcamp, she did it was a beautiful post. I don't know why I can't find it now. She did a good post that showed, I just completed a 10 weeks bootcamp on getting into cloud computing. And in the 10 weeks, I learned this. In the first week, I learned about this. And then she included a link from Medium where she had all those screenshots and everything. Honestly, by the time I went through that profile, I told myself, if I was taking an intern, right, it was good enough for me to reach out to her and say, okay, I have an internship position. Would you want to give this a try? It was good because it showed progress. It showed what she had done. It showed where she was in her career. And she worked on a project. So by the time I went to her Medium page, I could see everything she had. Now, this is someone who hasn't worked in that field, right? She just did a boot camp just like you did, right? But this is me, a neutral person, and just seeing that, I'm thinking, wow, this is amazing. This person really did good work. That means this person has learned something. So if I had an internship position, she would be a good candidate. And I want to just tell you, that is how every other business owner out there thinks, right? Every other business. So some people say, oh, I don't want to be writing too many things on LinkedIn. No, as long as visibility is concerned, the world is a global village. So as long as the world remains a global village, internet is the next to the best thing that has happened to us, right? And now when you have things like Medium, honestly, I began to ask myself, why don't I have a Medium page? I think it looked, but honestly, it was so beautiful. That is the truth. It was so beautiful. So I would encourage everybody who has completed the bootcamp. You spent the last 9, almost 10 weeks on this bootcamp. My assignment to you today is that you go create an account on Medium if you don't have it, right? Create an account, make a detailed write-up of your 10 weeks bootcamp experience. Once you have done that, come on LinkedIn, right? Come on LinkedIn, make a post as well about it and include your Medium page, right? Because a lot of people might not have GitHub profile and things like that. So that is a good place to start. Now, you're looking for, when you do that, tag your coordinators. Everybody in this bootcamp, you had a mentor in your group. Tag your mentor, tag Oluwasegun, tag Hope, tag all the mentors on your post. Now, these mentors, when they see it, they look at the links and it looks good, they repost it. They have a larger network of people, likely more than you do. So they would make reports, and possibly some persons might reach out to them and say, oh, I saw this person's profile you reposted. Do you know more about this person? Do you think this person we have an internship role. Do you think this person is suitable? That is how recommendations come. Your mentors do not have a list of jobs waiting for them to hand over to each person. No, they don't, right? But as you put yourself there, and it's also an opportunity for them to see that you really did participate in the bootcamp and you learned a lot, right? And they can, with all form of confidence, project you out there, but you have to first project yourself. Now, for those of us who have GitHub portfolio and all of that, you have to include those things in your profile. What about if you're not an IT person, you're just like me, I don't have a GitHub portfolio or anything like fancy like that. All I have is my CV. How do you upload your CV on LinkedIn? Because when you're looking for a job on LinkedIn, right, which is one of the big, when you're looking for a job on LinkedIn, you click on jobs. Now, there are jobs that have here. So these are like some things I have searched for in the past. So if I look for, I'm trying to find something here. Okay, so let me use cloud developer. Right? Now, this is the cloud developer job, right? So you see the things that are open. Now, for some job, you can see things like easy apply. When you see easy apply, I'm trying to find one that has, yes, look at this job. You see this thing, easy apply. It means that once you click on it, you are applying with your LinkedIn profile, right? You are applying with your LinkedIn. You're not going to another page. You're not going to the company site to submit something, fill a form, write an essay. No, you are applying with your LinkedIn profile. And now when you do this, most times, most of them require you to include your CV in this application. Now, what if your CV is not on LinkedIn? Now, as a professional, you should have your CV on your LinkedIn page, not in the public glare. I will show you how to upload it in case not everybody knows. And if you're an IT person, you're a data analytics person, business, you are in that field where you have something to do with a portfolio, you're a photographer, once you know you have something to do with portfolio and you have a portfolio that sits on another platform, right? And you can copy the link. Please come to your profile, right? I will show you where you can put all of that. So on your profile here, you can include it in your about section, right? You can include it in your about section. You can also include it on LinkedIn. There's a place where you call features, right? You can also include it as something that features on top of your page as well. So once you do that, anybody that reads you about and sees that link, they have a quick access to your portfolio and they can see the things you've done. Now, when I say it, that's why I said it doesn't just relate to those in IT. If you're a photographer, you are self-employed, you're a photographer, you have a photography, you have a portfolio, you're an artist, you're a writer, right? You have a portfolio. Just include the link on your page in your about section. So someone sees it, clicks on it, they see what you have done and they can reach out to you. Now, to upload your LinkedIn, upload your CV to your LinkedIn profile. I have a short description on how to go about that here. I will stop sharing now. So if you want to jot down, you can jot down, right? If you want to jot down, you can jot down. I would also get into sharing as well so that we can see, I can, illustrate it and everybody can see how to do that. Okay. Just give me 1 minute so I can get back to sharing. Here, I have, where is my LinkedIn profile now? Here. So first, to upload your CV or LinkedIn, you click on me, view profile, right? And please ensure that your CV is well tailored. It's okay. Now, thank God for ChatGPT. Honestly, ChatGPT is like next to the best thing that's happened to us within the last couple of years, right? So you have a CV, ChatGPT will write me a CV description for junior developer for blah blah blah. It gives you a guide. ChatGPT, it gives you a guide, but you still have the responsibility to tailor it to suit the right purpose. So once I show you this, then I give opportunity for us to ask questions. So here I clicked on me, my profile, settings and privacy. Yes, coming up. So then I go to data privacy, right? Then what's the next step again? Hold on. So from data privacy, right? From data privacy, then there's the job and application setting here. Where is that now? Here, job and application settings. So you click on me, settings and privacy, data privacy, then this. So you look at it here. So you come here, you upload resume, right? So you can see I've uploaded different resumes. This is 2022, April, September, June. This is 2023, my most recent. So as I make changes in my work life, I get more certification, more experience. I update my CV, I put it here. So when I want to apply for jobs on LinkedIn, especially jobs that have easy apply, Because easy apply jobs are just click, 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 click. You've submitted your application, and that is it. There is no email. You're not sending any code email or private message to anybody. So that is why your LinkedIn profile has to be good. Your CV as well has to be equally good, right? So I would remove this so that everybody can still see me. So you have to, once you do this, when you go and you search for jobs, now we'll go back to the job part, right? So when you search for jobs in a particular section, someone says, but when I want to look for a job on LinkedIn, it can be really daunting. So like I use something like Experience Associate, for instance, right? And I see all these jobs. There are different filters. Some people don't know that these things are filters. These are LinkedIn filters. So if you want to see jobs that were posted within the last 1 month, or within the last 1 week, between the last 24 hours, you select it. You have 9, right? If you're concerned with the experience level, you want internship, entry level, it helps streamline your job search on LinkedIn. It makes it a lot easier for you to do. You want on-site, we want remote roles. A lot of people in Nigeria are looking for remote jobs. This is an easy way for you to search. So the only options that come to you are remote jobs. And once you're done with this, you can set job alerts. I encourage everyone to set, if you know you're actively looking out for jobs, it is nice to set a job alert with all the relevant keywords that apply to you. So you want on-site or you want remote, you have a company level, you're looking at an experience level, or you want jobs like here. If I want only jobs that are easy apply, I select this, then these are only jobs that are easy apply. So it means that if I apply for this job now, I am applying with only my LinkedIn profile. They don't require me to go to another website, create a profile, create an account, and things. No, you apply here. This is where the application happens. When I click easy apply, in like 3 clicks, I've applied for this job, right? So that's I'll say that is that. This is not all there is. There are a lot of things. And I'll give you quick tips. I'll say 5 things I would encourage everybody who wants to optimize their LinkedIn to do, top of the mind. So in case I've been speaking, talking a lot and you were not able to get what to hold on to, 5 things. 1, ensure you have a profile picture, you have a headline picture on your LinkedIn. Professional picture, please. 2, ensure you have your about section. Have a detailed about section that describes either your work experience as you already have or what you're projecting to. Ensure you have that. 3, ensure you have a portfolio or your CV, depending on what your career path is. Ensure you have that on your LinkedIn profile. 4, you want to ensure you put out content on LinkedIn from time to time. Like I said, it doesn't have to be you discovering the moon. It doesn't, like post it on LinkedIn. That's where people pass driving tests and they come to make it as if they discovered a car part or discover how to go from Earth to the moon. That's what most times happens on LinkedIn. But I don't exaggerate what you're not, right? But put things out there. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Somebody posted it before. If it is something that was posted from somebody before, it could just be a repost. So Microsoft could post that they deployed a new tool. And if you follow Microsoft page, you can just repost that post on your page. That is still you being active on LinkedIn, right? So ensure that you're engaging and you're active on LinkedIn. Network on LinkedIn, look for the right networks and don't look for influencers. When I say influencers, don't look for people who do not have a direct impact to the career path or whatever you're projecting to, right? Look for people who have direct impact to your career, to the profession you are looking, or the professional image you want your LinkedIn profile to portray. So follow relevant people, follow relevant groups, network on LinkedIn. So networking doesn't mean stalking people or entering every DM. No, it means just providing a comment, liking a post, reposting it, giving your thoughts. If you sincerely have honest thought about a thing, don't go to somebody's LinkedIn post and criticize their post or argue or no. Oh, this great post, it was good. If you have more ideas, put it. If you object to it, you can professionally object to something like, oh, this was really a nice post and this is really insightful. However, I'm aware that in recent times, there is this new technology that does this, does that, does that. Now, if the person is the same person, they'll want to engage you further in that conversation. And really, you don't know what leads to what. Like they say in Nigeria, now talk, they bring talk, right? So you don't know what would lead to what, and how far it goes all the way from there. Now, that actually, I said I was going to give 5 tips. So those are 5 quick tips, top of your mind, how to effectively optimize your LinkedIn. Don't forget, in doing that, easy way, look for somebody whose profile is within your industry or the career path you're trying to build. Look at their profile, see what they've done, and see how much you can mirror it, not verbatim. LinkedIn is all about integrity. Don't put what you're not out there. Don't write what you're not. Don't say what you did. Don't put you did something if you didn't do it. Be a person of integrity. Let your profile speak for who you are and what you've done and where you're projecting to go to. So thank you very much. If you have questions, let's take the questions and we'll round up. Thank you. Any questions, please? Okay, so I have a hand up. Isaac, you can unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for this presentation. A really nice one and insightful. Please confirm. Okay, you can hear me, yeah. So my question is, if you have been in a field, okay, let me just give a practical example. You started out as a data analyst, right?
Okay.
And then you've had, and that's where you have experience so far, probably just internship or maybe not full-time work experience, maybe internship or little freelance jobs. And now you want to move into a field like, let's say, DevOps now. So, and then you've posted some of your experiences and the little freelance jobs you've done. So what is the ideal thing to do? Is it that you're going to completely remove all of those things you've posted before to start a new path? So just how do we transition?
Okay, good. So that is a very good question, Isaac, because a lot of people are doing transitioning into full IT related roles. So I see people going from medicine to this. Now, one thing I like people to understand is the fact that in everything that you do, yes, you could say you're transitioning, but there is a connection. That's the point. There's always a link. So I advise people, look for that link. Now you have experience in data analytics. Now you're going to cloud computing, right? There is a knowledge in data analytics that fits into cloud computing. Now you don't just go out there. Now you did a cloud computing bootcamp, right? It's all about perspective. You did a cloud computing bootcamp, I presume, right? Now, when you're, how do you put it? They call it launching. When you're launching this new part you're supposedly transitioning to. So you're making a LinkedIn post like, in the last 5 years, I've specialized in data analytics. I've worked on project, but in the last 2 months, I've picked a new interest in cloud computing, right? And I have done this. So you have done certain things in cloud computing for you to launch out. In the last year, I have learned this, I have learned about this, I have learned about that, I have learned about that, right? Now, anybody that sees that post knows where you're coming from and knows where you're going to, right? Now, going forward, you can now start posting things, right? Now, on your headline, your headline has to have something like maybe cloud infrastructure enthusiast or things like that. Again, I talked about the freelancing, your work experience. Even if you've done, just go create a Fiverr account, create an Upwork account, put cloud DevOps or something, put it there from so date to so date, put the skills you have. So now for the present time, let the skills you push out there be the skills for the cloud infrastructure, DevOps, cloud computing part that you're looking to get into, right? So that is how you try. So you don't delete it. No, data analytics is very relevant, very, very relevant in the field of cloud computing, because in cloud computing, and to the extent that I understand, you have to be able to make sense of the data you have. if you're writing programs, or if you have to create tools, like my dear husband would always say, creating container, all those things you people do. If you have to have a good understanding of it to an extent, right? You really have to. So it's not a complete, oh, I'm taking it out. No, you're not taking it out. You have to find the link points. That is very important. There is always a link point between where you're coming from and where you're going to. And it is how you put it out there, how you how you package it. Package is not the right word, but it is in what perspective you put it out to people. That's how they understand it. So if you put it out to the fact that I have something I'm bringing to the table in this regard, as you like all I've done is business risk management consulting. I've like I mentioned earlier, I've worked a lot with financial services institutions, oil and gas firms. Right now, if somebody called me, I haven't worked in an IT institute. Right, then when I say like I'm not working like in a Microsoft or in an Oracle or any of those OEMs. Right now, if I were to apply for a job as a business risk management consultant in Microsoft, do you think I won't be able to demonstrate that my experience in a bank, for instance, my experience working in financial services industries with banks and all this is relevant? There is always a connecting point. I would be able to find that connecting point and sell myself. So keynote is find that link connecting point and put it together. Now, if you're not able to do this, that's why you have mentors. If you're not able to do this, please feel free, reach out to your mentors, reach out for help, and we would find a way to put it together and then launch you out there as a cloud computing professional and no longer as a data analytics professional. I don't know if that answered your question, Isaac.
Yeah.
Yes, accurately. But just one more follow-up, I think it's the last question from me is,
Okay.
for the headlines, do we,
Okay.
I've seen people who would say data analytics slash machine learning slash this, so, is it still advisable to still maintain
Here,
the data
right, for the
analytics?
headlines. Okay.
Yes, for the headline. And then I maybe put a slash, then cloud DevOps. Or my concern is, should I still retain the previous skill as the headline?
Now, for the headline, your focus should be, you don't want to be misleading. If you put, now you're looking to get opportunities in cloud computing, for instance, not data anymore, right? So you can't, it's not going to be right to put that, because if you put that on your headline, when somebody searches for opportunities for a data analytics, your profile is going to come up, and then you wonder why people are reaching out to you for jobs in data analytics. Meanwhile, you're looking for a job in cloud computing. I don't know if you get my point, right? So you're not doing away with that experience. It's going to be in your work experience because it is relevant. However, what are you projecting? Your headline is your projector. I'm sharing my screen, but I have so many tabs open, but the one that I'm projecting to you is what you can see. Meanwhile, there are a lot of other tabs open. So your headline is like, what is that first thing I want people to think about me when they open my LinkedIn profile? So you're looking out for jobs in cloud computing. That's what you should put, really. Because if you put data analytics, once I come to your profile, I probably might reach out to you for data analytics jobs if I have one. Then you're like, no, really. Then you see people, then it kind of puts you in a place that you're trying to move or transition, but it seems like the opportunities you're getting are data analytics. Then you realize that you're no longer motivated to continue into that journey of transitioning from one specialty to another, right? So I'll say for the headline, put things related to cloud computing. But if you work in like big companies that have names, maybe you work in Amazon, Microsoft, you can have your headline X Amazon and then slash cloud computing. This is, your headline is just where you are, where you're about to, what you want people to know. So even if you don't have it, like if you don't have any experience, put cloud infrastructure DevOps. Put I don't know what other keywords are related. It could be cloud computing, cloud DevOps, maybe cloud sec if you're a security person or something. Those things. So put that so that someone that sees your profile knows if I'm looking for an intern for a cloud DevOps, so I'm looking for a cloud DevOps professional, when I see your profile, I know that is what you're all about. That's what I'm going to engage you on. So I don't know if I answered your question, Isaac.
Yes,
Yeah,
you did. Thank you.
can I have just 1 minute to just buttress that point?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, so one thing I will say is when we are talking about LinkedIn, the full summary is you are telling your story. So just like Valerie said earlier, some of your experience might be on your LinkedIn page. So for example, I also transit from mechanical engineering into software development, then into cloud computing. So every time I go for an interview, the recruiter will always ask me, like, can you please just tell me your story? Because I listed it in my job experience. And on my LinkedIn page, I tell the story, like how I transited from mechanical engineering into software development, into cloud computing. So every time I go for interview, I always tell the story and they were like, wow, this is interesting. So you have to like portray what you are looking for, like in your headline. Let it be the specific one that you are doing. Then your profile in full should talk about how you move from the previous one to the next one and to your current one from your profile. And on that your second question, Isaac, I have the similar experience. Sometime in my profile, I will put, excuse me, software development, machine learning, data analysis, cloud developer. So there was one interview I applied for. I was invited for the interview, and the recruiter was like, honestly, I don't really understand what you want. So instead of us going for interview, like talking about the job or go like that, and I started talking about my career ambition, where I have skills in data analysis, but then I want to work as a cloud developer. So the recruiter come like, okay, we have role in data analysis, we have in data engineering, I put that also, cloud developer this. Okay, so what do you want? Where do you want to fit in? She was actually wanted to just hear from me, not that she wants to bring me in, because like it looks like I'm so distracted with what I want to do. So I don't know what I want to do. And even in interview myself say I don't know what I want to do, because I talk about data analysis, I talk about cloud development, I talk about this, I talk about that. The role is to be a cloud, to be data analysis, but based because of my profile, I say, okay, I mean, because they have a cloud developer position, I say, hey, I'll be interested in cloud developer position if you have. So it looks so ambiguous, like, okay, then you don't know what you want. So just put in the one you are, portraying, like, this is what I want to do, then that will be more better. So don't be distracted with that.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Oluwasegun. So yeah, it's good to hear like a real time experience. So it's okay, again, it's okay to have those experiences. Just like Shegun said, telling your story means you're able to connect everything. But just like the headline, your headline is, where are you? What are you aiming to be? What do you want people to see you as, right? So that is very important. So to avoid confusion, you don't want recruiters looking at your profile and they're like, I can't tell what this person is into. Is he a data analytics professional? Is he a cloud computer? Or is he a software developer? Or is he a photographer? They can't tell because you're jack of all trade, master of none, right? So you don't want that confusion. So don't delete the experience from your list of experience because it is relevant. But in your headline, just put things related to what you're projecting towards. You want cloud infrastructure and project towards that, because before you do that, you have gained at least certain skills in cloud computing. So you completed a boot camp, you learned certain things, and that's why that launching, now I call it the launching note on LinkedIn. So if you're doing, for anyone who is transitioning, it is important, and you want to make good use of LinkedIn. It is important to have that launching note, and you don't put out a launching note if you've not done certain things. So in transitioning, you didn't just wake up and say, oh, now I'm a cloud developer. No, you went through certain training, you're still in that training period. But the period where you've covered like maybe basic training, you've done like boot camps, you've done some Coursera or certification or things like that. When you make that launching post on LinkedIn, you have to tell the story, oh, how you've been this and how you've transitioned into this, and in the course of so period, you have done this, I have done this, I have done that, right? Now, people would appreciate more that story. Like Shegun said, they would appreciate that the story would be clear, right? And then when they look at your profile and look at your headline, they also see. So it correlates. There is no confusion. There's no any form of ambiguity on it. Thank you. I don't know if there are any other questions. We promise we're not going to keep people longer than 1 hour, but we started 10 minutes later. So that kind of gives us room for another extra 10 minutes. So which we have 6 more minutes to go, by the way. Maybe one more question if there's any, and we can round up.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Adedayo, I can hear you speaking, but you're not very audible.
Yeah. Okay. So good evening. So actually my question is very direct.
Okay, good.
So actually I want to ask, so assuming in a situation whereby you kind of deal with more like a particular programming language, and as well you work with cloud cloud tools. So on the LinkedIn headline, just as you mentioned, so could that be referenced as a cloud developer or a cloud native engineer, something like that? At least that pinpoints what I'm actually doing, so that I won't be like, okay, you are doing this, you are doing this.
Okay, thank you so much, Adidai, for that question. So first, my response would be, before you go ahead to acquire certain skills, you have to know to what do they relate. So if you're learning, like I'm not a cloud computing person, but little things I know is, say for instance, if you're learning how to use AWS, for instance, to the extent that I know, those who do AWS learn how to use AWS, write AWS exams. Most of them are either cloud infrastructure developers or cloud DevOps, right? So you want to learn skills that you know in what area they apply. Don't write every exam because everybody's writing it. So first is, what specialty are you trying to build? Do you want to be a cloud developer? If you want to be a cloud developer, then speak to your mentors, or if you don't want to speak to somebody, go on LinkedIn. Once you search for cloud developers, right? Now I'll show you an example. Once you search for cloud developer, you can just take your time to look at people's profile and see the certifications that they've done, right? Now, from the certifications they've done, it gives you an idea what you should be looking at, right? Now, let me open Oluwasegun's profile. Let me use your own too. So we have our dear Oluwasegun's profile up here, right? So we can see his headline is clear. I would not think twice to wonder what is he into. I can see clearly he's into cloud infrastructure developer at Ericsson, 3 times Kubernetes certified. All these things I know that, okay, these are related to cloud computing, right? So if, for instance, you didn't know Shegun and then you just went to his profile, now seeing the certifications he has done, you know that, okay, if this person is a cloud DevOps, is a cloud DevOps person, and he's done the certification, that means if I want to build a career in cloud DevOps, these are the things I should do. Now, if you say you want to be a cloud engineer, then you look for a cloud engineer, right? Cloud security engineer or anything like that. You look for people in that profile and see the certification. So that way, as you're acquiring skills, you're not confused about what aspects you're projecting. You don't want to be caught up in the trap of doing so many things and not being able to say this is my specialty, right? So it's just look at the skills. So let's say now you've done a lot of things, right? Look at them, sort them out. If you've written 10 certification exams, sort them out. Which one is in the majority? Most of the certifications you've written would aspect do they major? And what do you want? Do you want to be a cloud infrastructure developer, or do you want to be a cloud security person, or do you want to be a cybersecurity professional? So once you identify the image you want to portray, then you look at, okay, how many certifications or skills have I acquired in this line? That is who you portray. So you portray who you want to portray. And if you've done everything and someone like, oh, I don't mind being a cloud developer, but I also like cybersecurity, and you want to go based on the majority of the skills you've acquired, then you can go that way. So if the skills you've acquired, let's say you've written a lot of exams in cloud DevOps, and you've written a lot of exams in cybersecurity, and you're not sure, but you realize that the exams or the skills or the certifications you've gotten are more on the cybersecurity side than the cloud computing side. What that means is, are you open to portraying yourself as a cybersecurity professional or as a cloud DevOps professional? So the choice really first boils down to you. What do you want, and what kind of professional do you want to be identified as? I don't know if I answered your question, Adedayo.
Yes, yes, you did. You did. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you very much. It is 10 past 9 p.m. West African time. I want to say a big thank you to everyone
Sorry,
who
Valerie, is it
attended.
possible to take one more question if there is any? Just one.
Okay, if the persons in attendance do not mind, I can take one more question.
That is if there is anybody. There's no.
Okay. Is there any question? Last question. Any last question? Our God Topper said we can take one more question. So any
Okay, probably silence means no.
okay, so good. So no more questions. So thank you everyone, and directly and especially to all the students who just rounded up the cloud computing bootcamp. I know you're working on your projects now. So while you're doing your projects, don't forget the assignment I gave from the beginning. If you don't have a Medium account, go and create a Medium account. Make a detailed write-up of your experience. Go back. I want to believe everyone still has access to all the platforms they use for their studies. Go back there, take screenshots, and do a good write-up. Do it on a week-by-week basis. So see if you can do on a week-by-week basis. And I remember the curriculum was shared on the group. So you can take the curriculum. So if it was maybe 2 weeks for intro to Python, and you did the course for Python programming, you can do that based on the curriculum. So you can, maybe that would be a lot easier. Go to your Medium, create a Medium account, take the curriculum and write about what you learned per the subject title on each of the on the curriculum. And once you've done that, make your LinkedIn post linking that Medium page, right? Highlight, oh, after the 10 weeks bootcamp, I learned this. Then intro to Python programming, you write maybe one line on, oh, I learned how to write a program from scratch A to scratch Z, and then you put a link, details on the projects I worked on Python programming. Once you do that, tag your mentors, right? Tag your mentors. I am in all the cloud computing bootcamp groups. So if you do that, if you want, or before you go and before you post your write-up on LinkedIn, you want me to have a second look, you want a second look, I am available to have a second look on post. Just send me a message and say, oh, I've created my Medium account. This is the link to it. Do you mind having a second look? Or this is the post I want to make on LinkedIn. Do you mind having a second look before I go on to post? I'm available to do that. And I know that your mentors are also available to do that. Like I said, once you do it, please tag them on LinkedIn so that they can repost, because they have wider network and that would help increase your visibility. Thank you once again for your time. It's been such a pleasure. I look forward to sharing with you the information on the next bootcamp. It's coming up, like Shegun said, 20th of September. The flyers are going to be out. Information on how to register would be out as well on all platforms. We're going to share it in the WhatsApp groups, the cloud computing WhatsApp groups. and you'll be free to share it with all your contacts and every other interested persons you know. So thank you. I'll hand over the stage back to our organizer, Mr. Oluwasegun Adetunji Adesoya.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Valerie. Just a minute, please. So I will paste in the chat now where we have the recording. So someone that wants to go to it again, just a moment. So there will be recording of this section in this my YouTube page. So I'll just paste it for new people that don't know that before. Just 1 second. Oh, okay. So you can follow the page. That's my YouTube page. So there will be the recording there after this section. And at the same time, for new people, let me just put in my LinkedIn here. So if you want to follow, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, and maybe Valerie, you can also put your own LinkedIn page also in the chat so people to connect with you for those that want to connect with you. Yeah, so like Valerie said, and like I said earlier, so that will be the next boot camp will be coming up September 20th. And there will be information that will be passed around by this coming week. So we get information so we can tell our friends and people that will be interested. And if you get information, you can repost it. So the boot camp is it's basically in cloud computing for cloud developers and cloud DevOps. So yeah, that is it. And once again, I will want everybody to especially help me appreciate Valerie. So she's my darling wife and she has been so supportive throughout this boot camp. And thank you so much for coming today and giving us this insight. Like I said, she's the best in what she do. And you can see it from the talk. Yeah, thank you. So does anybody has any question regarding the boot camp or any other question? Okay, if not, I will stop the recording.